Greetings and welcome, my friends. This is 2 for before 644. It's like a code you have to crack. We get started with a 4-lander. I usually like these hands, but this one looks kind of rough. We have one early play, one mid-game play, and a late-game play. That is clunky, my friends, but we'll risk it. Keep your pants on. They might be mono black, which will make it tough for them to do anything about our Hive. Most players don't use Withering Torment. They are a bat player. It can be a good card depending on what kind of support cards they have in their deck. Alone, it's not worth playing. Well, if all you do is play bats, then that could work out. We have cards in hand, but we're essentially in top deck mode because of the bats. Drawing a Bitter Triumph means we need a land, and we can fire off the removal to snipe a bat, and then play out the invasion to get Voldemort in play. They do play Withering Torment. We'll go ahead and snipe the bat with our sweeper under it, and we'll toss Voldemort. Come on, Shuffler, give us an untapped land on our draw. We get another invasion instead of a land. That's fine, we'll spend our sweeper to get rid of their bat and get in for hits. The double invasions means we can get Voldemort and our Hive back as well. Lily is absolutely horrible as removal to a pair of tokens. I guess they don't have anything else.
Sacrifices must be made.
We'll take out Lily, then play out our Preacher. The Shuffler wants to make sure this is a close game. If we'd had our 5th land by now, we'd have gotten Voldemort and shut the door on this game. There it is. Land number 5, let's get the first invasion down and get Lord Voldemort. Shelley is a small fry in comparison. They go for a removal, but do they not know Voldemort's ward ability? That should be common knowledge by now. They can't even begin to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. All they got is Shelley. Thanks for the removal to take out Shelley. We draw a big Shelley, and that will be our play. Our Shelley takes out their Shelley, and we'll have both on our side. So good. Their men want to come over to the shark side. Before we let them have their last turn, let's play out their Shelley. That's more than they can handle. G's R2D2, or whatever their name is. This is CJ Chomp. He must be from Chomp City, bro. That's my vacation spot. We're starting this one with a 3-lander. We've got that awesome turn 2 Hive play going, as well as good follow-ups with a removal, a fleshy, and one of our sweepers. Keep. Another Wormlet deck. Is this thing trying to make a comeback? Or are players too afraid to invest in newer cards? Oh wait, is this the cookie deck that was running around like a year ago? We draw a virtue, and one thing is certain, that cookie has got to go. Let's get it off our board and into an early grave. We like to eat cookies around here, and we took a chomp out of that one. A surge engine is too much pain. We're already letting the wormlet run loose, so the engine has to be scrapped. Besides, that will let us get through for a hit and our first poison. Get gone, girl. They kept a 2-lander, and it hasn't worked out. Happens to all of us, bro. Let's send in our lads and see if they block. If we get them up to 3 poison, our lads get lifelink, and we can go ahead and trade blows all day long. They let our men through the front door, and we get our critical lifelink on our men. Let's follow it up with Fleshy, and they'll be going in reverse from here on out. There's no reason to block up. We'll take the 3 damage, and we'll be gaining 6 on our attack. We might even activate the fortress and get in for a solid shot to their precious face. A virtue will cancel out their wormlet that's trying to grow some teeth in its skull. They hung in there with only their 2 lands, but I can't see how they could come back with our board full of tokens. Another cookie is not going to be enough. They agree and get their vacation to Chomp City started right away. GG's, bro. Bro, you spelled Atraxa wrong. I mean, it is a good effort, though. This is a funny 3-lander. All we got are tap lands for the first 2 turns, then we'll have to decide on our sequence on turn 3. No removals does have me concerned a bit, but we do have Fleshy to gain life, and the Preacher can generate token men with lifelink if we're behind. Keep your pants on. A bat, for reals, bro. Why are bats popular all of a sudden? We'll go with Preacher number 1. He should force some removal, or the Preacher could get us some extra men. Our Preacher finds his way to an early grave, but we have a backup that can take up the mantle. All right, Preacher number 2, you are up. Get in there, bro. Wait a minute, they're a lizard deck? They are probably better off playing Bandit's talent over the bats. We'll send the Preacher. In order to kill it off, they'll have to block up with 2 men at least, and that is a solid trade. Block up, bro. Block like you're a champ at blocking. Fleshy eats some lightning and has a breakdown, so he's gonna need a personal day. They even snipe our token. That's unbelievable. We drew a removal, say goodbye to all their men. We'll snipe the bat with our sweeper under it, and we'll fire it off to hit all tapped men. Get gone, girls. We'll see you when you're on our side. They get another little lizard down, but it's not going to be enough to stop the tide. There's no reason to hold back. It's GG's. They just need to realize it. They didn't even block the token. Their feelings are too hurt for them to block now. That's that, boys. They give it up. This is B, thirsty, bro. Needs some water. Don't drink anything salty. We've gotten a decent 3-lander here. We've got a removal for any early threats along with a pair of our sweepers. We're ready for enemy men. Keep. We draw a hive, and we'll play out our swamp to be able to land our lad maker plus. Call the lads. We've got free beer on tap. We see their demolition field, which is why we'll play out the swamp we just drew. If they want to use their field on something, it'll have to be our Shadowy Backstreet. That's a good sign. They used a removal on our first token lad. They even get our fleshy in a painless way, but we've got more lads on the way. They will never stop coming for the free beer. They land a Sheoldred, but we've got our removal at the ready. Shelly has got to go! They got another one! I mean, I guess we'll burn her out as well with one of our sweepers. Let's go in first. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get a poison on them. They block it, but our lad was going to die anyways if we didn't send him in. We get our 6th land, and we could go with our Ripper here, but if they have an edict, we'd lose it. Fleshy will be our play. If they have removal, they can use it on him. They hit us with duress, but that's not going to help them much at this point. We'll hang on to the Ripper. What we've got on board can end the game if they don't have any removals to fire off. Go for the Throat is not a removal that will help them here. Now that we got them down to 10, we'll play out the Ripper. If they have a deadly cover-up, they'll die to the Ripper's triggers. They have no answers coming. GG's, bro. This is ingenuity, but I find that hard to believe. Let's see what kind of deck they're playing. We get the eventual Shuffler Special. This was coming, you could feel it. We do have a Hive and a removal while we wait on other lands. Let's risk it. Keep your pants on. They go with some frog power, which if they have good follow-up plays, could mean a lot of pain for us. We'll play out our Hive and wait to see what they have. We've got a removal with Frogger written all over it. Well, that is bad news. A snail could really rip our hand apart, while the frog throws a beating the likes of which we have not seen to this point. We've got to let the Ripper go. It's the most expensive card in our hand, and one we likely won't be able to play out anytime soon. We might have to fight this game with 2 lands, but at least for now we can knock off the frog. They drop another Elder, but don't swing in with the snail. That's a point of damage that they've missed out on. A 3rd land will let us make plays on our next turn. Unfortunately, we can't get in for a hit, so we'll hold off. They play out a Glisa, but what they should have done is keep playing the snail to deplete our hand. And then they don't swing in, we're going to get them with our sweeper. We're going to look at their stuff and cards in our hand to make it seem like we might have something when we don't. But they don't fall for it. They block up like champs. Now we drop the hammer. Pack your bags, ladies. You're getting a free trip to the grave. That's the thing about Golgari. They can have a never-ending line of men. Fortunately, we haven't seen any Dread Knights yet, and we haven't gotten hit with a long line of snails. I don't like Escargot. This turn has to be a preacher turn. We need him to generate some token men that can help us get some life back. The snail is really the worst thing they have. It takes a card out of our hand and is a good blocker. We're not too worried about Glissa. She has a virtue that is about to get dropped on her head. This is a double virtue turn, apparently. Let's cook Glissa and their Rust Stain. Then we can get in for hits. They pass on blocking, so we get our first point of poison in. We've got them on board, but they've got a handful of cards. Those snails are brutal. We're not eating escargot. The escargot is eating us. In the end, they are just 1/1 men, so we've still got a strong presence. They hit the Preacher with removal, but we've still got the Hive making lads, and that might see us through. The Shadowy Backstreet shows us a man land on top, and we'll hang on to it. That'll be our 6th land, and at 6 mana we can play out most of the cards in our deck. We're 1 short of playing the Virtue. We'll send in the lads. We'll keep the Preacher token back to block. If we get them to 3 poison, they'll be toast. Once we get lifelink on our lads, we'll be able to recover some of the life we've lost. They play out an Overlord. And they get their Glissa back, but they can't play it out this turn. Instead, they go with an Informant, but we have no cards in hand. It might as well be a vanilla 1/1. We'll fire up our manland and get in for damages. With a Glissa on the way, we might be done if we don't have a way to deal with her. We draw a Sheoldred at a perfect time. Getting her down means we take out Glissa and we can swing in. Apparently, Golgari can run out of men. GG's, bro. GG's. This is Top Gun. No, wait, it's Top D. Top D, man, maybe? I can't be sure. We get a 3-lander with a pair of removals and what seems to be our usual men. A Preacher and a Fleshy. They look to be on mono black, a deck that we're rather strong against. We'll play out the Preacher first. He leads the charge. They play out a Slasher, so we'll be able to get in for damages with our Preacher. And since we're ahead on life, we'll get an extra draw. The draw gets us another Virtue, so we'll fire it off on their Slasher to get rid of it permanently, at least until it comes back on our side. They played a Bat. They're done. That's how you know they're going to lose. They get a Tiny Bones down as well. With his Death Touch, we know he could be a problem, but we'll see what they do. They do try to throw a block, but we'll snipe their Tiny Bones. We might not get damage through, but we still got a card off the Preacher. We'll follow it up with one of our Hives and phone up some lads. A Lily will be able to deal with our Preacher, but they ran out of here. What the heck? GG's, maybe? This is crazy. No, wait, it's KCE. That's crazy. E. We get a Shuffler special with double Sweeper and double Fleshy. We have one removal, but I think this is a suspect hand. Instead of the Sweepers, I'd prefer to have another removal. Mull. Then we get a 3-lander with a Hive and a Sweeper. The Fleshy can help us out with life gain, and the Lord Voldemort can be the card we put back. Keep your hopes up. The perfect opponent when you go down to 6 cards is discard, but they might struggle against our Hive and our token lads. We'll let the Sweeper go, since they might not have many men early anyways. An Informant is their play. We could try keeping the Fleshy, but with this deck we really want to hit our land drops. Getting to 5 is ideal, getting to 6 even better. We draw into a second Hive, and that will be our play. If they can't deal with our Hives, we might be able to grow a team that's too big for them to handle. Now that we have no cards in hand, their discard is useless, but our board will continue to improve anyways. Let's see if they'll block. Place your bets. They just take the hit. It might be a small thing, but we have to start somewhere, and that's our start. Using removal on a lad is always a good sign. It's better than them playing out something bigger that can block a lad and survive. Drawing a land is fine here. We've gotten to 5, and that will let us play out most of our cards. And if we draw more lands, we can activate the man land and drain some life. We get them up to 3 poison, and our lads get lifelink. We can keep trading blows, but we'll be able to get the life back we lose. A virtue will let us cut their team in half. That's a big life point swing for us, and now all they have is a 1/1 to dish out damages. They bring down the biggest snake of all. They miss out on a point by not attacking first, but we won't tell them that. We can sacrifice a lad to not take 4 damage. Even with a snake, we'll still swing in. We've got to get the poison count up, and we'll only lose one of our lads. The preacher will be a perfect defender if they swing in. They snipe our preacher, which is very bad news, and they play out a Tiny Bones. This is starting to look pretty bad. Tiny Bones can steal our preacher from the grave while the snake slowly dismantles our lads. They send in the snake, special delivery. We have to sacrifice a pair of lads since we can't block, and taking 10 damage might be too much. We get another preacher and we'll play it out. We'll try blocking the snake with it when they come in. If they do, we'll go in with the lads, and now they have a tough decision to make. Block and lose their Tiny Bones, or take the 2 hits and go up to 9 poison, which means they'll be 1 away from a toxic death. They take the hits. All we need to do is take out their snake and survive to be able to deliver the last point of poison. They come in guns blazing with their Tiny Bone. We'll block up the snake and take it out. Tiny Bones will get through, but that's only 1 damage, and they'll get to steal a permanent from our grave. A full-size fleshy would have been very bad, but they don't have the mana to pay for it. Plus, the life total doesn't matter. We need only 1 poison more. Let's activate and get in. Not much point in holding back since the lads are too drunk to block. Oh no, bro, you blocked the wrong thing. Their name is Crazy E. GG's, bro. And that, my friends, is another satisfied customer.